A set of winter wheels for a brand new Porsche 911 costs £3,500.
So why buy wheels when you could buy an entire sports car instead?
So we've got a £3,500 budget and there are only two rules. It can't be a BMW.
And it can't be an MX-5. I bought this Nissan 350Z for just £3,200.
And for £3,500, I bought this Porsche Boxster 3.2S. How have you bought this for this price? And not only a 350, what does that mean?
You have spotted my bulge, and you've also spotted the lump in my bonnet. It means it's a HR, which is high revving. It means it's got 313 horsepower.
They sell for like £7-8 grand.
The next one up from this, £3,500, and it's write-off. This is a functioning, non-write-off car for £3,200.
How?
Auction.
It's the best place to buy stuff at the moment.
Also, I've actually bought this.
With your money, not the company money.
I could not turn this down, so I might be overprotective of it and very biased, but that is a bargain.
How many thousand miles?
106,000 miles with an MOT until next year. It's road legal, ready to go.
Ridiculous value for money. For the price of a set of wheels, you have a whole 350Z.
You cannot get better value for money than this in a sports car. There's no way.
A Porsche. Sorry, not a Nissan, not something my nan drives. A Porsche. It's not 2.5. It's not the medium 2.7. It's a full fat 3.2S with an IMS bearing done, with a sport exhaust. The interior is mint. And I paid £3,500 because of an auction.
Your auction as well?
Yeah, I bought it sight unseen, looked at some photos on the internet, went, that's enough information for me, mate. Put me in. It's silver. It's very silver. I describe it as silver.
It looks kind of pink.
It's silver.
It looks kind of pink.
It's silver.
You got a pink Porsche.
It's £3,500 though.
I'm not jealous, but that is very good value. One of these sells for
£4-5 minimum.
miles?
102,000.
Less than me.
I looked through the paperwork, specialists galore.
So enthusiast owned.
This car has been properly enthusiast owned. And I genuinely don't think, between these two cars, what's better value for money?
Either that or a set of wheels, and you can't drive a set of wheels. I think, quick drive.
Let's have a go.
But before we got them on the road, we needed to see which one sounded better. That does sound quite good.
Quite good.
But mine has had a back box delete.
£3,500.
That is the sound of my childhood on the PS2.
That is the sound of Need for Speed Underground, Trombone Class, and Fast and Furious. Very nice. Right, let's go.
Now, if I know Edwin, I know that he is immediately going to want to put the roof down, even though it is the coldest day of the year so far. But it's going to happen.
I don't make the rules. If it's a convertible, you got to get the roof down. Now, I'd prefer a coupe in most instances, but if it is a convertible, you got to do what you got to do. Here it is, my choice, a £3,500 Porsche Boxster S. 3.2 litre, 260 odd horsepower. That is crazy value for money.
Now, I've always wanted one of these cars, but it's never quite happened. But now, with the price that these are at, I could not say no. So I've actually bought this with my own money. That could be a mistake, seeing as we didn't even look at these cars, but I think I'm willing to take the risk.
Now, Will's car, it is Need for Speed Underground 2, and that is far more special to me than a Porsche Boxster. And obviously, a 350Z, it's trombone season. It's sounding ridiculous. I don't know, I think this gives it a good run for its money. What a noise!
Now, my dad actually had a very early one of these years ago. I would have been a very small, thin boy back then. It was one of the coolest things ever. My dad had a 350Z. I was just sat there in that passenger seat, exactly like that, and I thought it was amazing. This is the car I put a body kit on Need for Speed. This is the car I watched someone drift around a curly-whirly thing in a car park. Before we go any further with the sports cars, this is a quick reminder that if you're buying a used car, you should always run a car vertical check.
And that's because every single day, hundreds of cars get crashed, and some of them get repaired and put back on the road in an attempt to hide their dodgy past. With a car vertical check, you can find out that shady history.
All you have to do is enter your reg number or your VIN, and a car vertical report will tell you if that car has been crashed, stolen, or clocked.
Now, the 350Z isn't the only car Will's bought this week. He's also bought this Range Rover, which you'll find out about because it's broken. But luckily for him, the things that are good is it's got green ticks for odometer, finance, and damage.
Now, this truck hasn't been so lucky because we've got a yellow marker for damage. Now, it isn't just any truck, it is a fire truck, a Scania fire truck, and it has had a nasty accident. If you have a look through your pictures, you can see it's either hit a bridge or some kind of low pole, something not good at all. So if you're in the market for a fire truck, like we might be sometime in the future, and you see this one come up for sale looking pristine or imported to another country looking perfect with a car vertical report, you can find out this dodgy past.
So if you're ever buying a car, van, motorcycle, sports cars, or even a fire truck, as we found out, run a car vertical check to make sure that the price you pay for it matches its history.
And as an added bonus, Car Vertical are offering you guys 20% off when you use code TDC.
Now, I'm not really a Boxster man. I much prefer 911s. Boxsters aren't really my thing. In fact, my dad had a Boxster in the early 2000s and he sold it after less than 24 hours. It was always ingrained in me that Boxsters were not to be touched. I tell you what, for the value for money over what the cheapest 911 is to get into, I wouldn't shake a stick at one of these.
I feel like these have almost been kind of forgotten about a little bit. Maybe it's because they get quite rusty. Maybe it's because they've all been drifted into hedges or had wide body kits put on them, or supercharged or turbocharged or generally ruined. But I think, here's a bit of financial advice. This isn't financial advice. I think this is a good buy at the moment. Look after it. I don't think you'll lose any money on it.
One thing that I'm not so happy about on this car is that Will has an LSD.
But what it means is I can do a skid easier than he can. I've no doubt that he will try, but I got the tools. Meanwhile,
here we go, out of a slippery junction. Open diff, not so nice for me. I have to say, from behind, I feel like I'm playing Need for Speed in third person.
I am also in Tokyo Drift. This is the coolest thing ever.
Quick question, are you planning on ripping that e-brake and powering over anytime soon?
No, I wouldn't have thought so, but I might head to the local multi-story and see if they've got one of those little curly-whirly things. I might just drift all the way around it with supreme precision.
But overall, for £3,200, you're happy?
I am over the moon, and I'm going to say it, I'm not jealous of your Boxster, but that is ridiculous value for money for a mid-engined Porsche.
I'm going to say it too. I'm not jealous. I'm very jealous. But your 350 is very cool. Usually Will and I are either trying to buy each other horrible cars or trying to put down each other's cars. I honestly think we've both won here.
With both of our cars driving great, we got them back to the unit to take a closer look around them.
It drives nicely.
It drives very nicely.
It's a cheap 350Z. There are issues. The elephant in the room. Why has someone stuck on building lights?
There's normally a reflector here, which doesn't look the best, but it looks better than that. That is an AliExpress special.
So that's going in the bin?
Yep, that's going in the bin. Look, sometimes I like black badges, but I don't like it on this.
Bin.
Also, the Z.
Oh, I love this. This is the Z350Z.
The bonnet does appear to be a slightly different colour to the rest of it.
I'm not going to make fun of you for that. You know, it happens to the best of us, so we won't worry about that.
Headlights are all yellow, that could do with the polish. But front end, other than that, it's not too terrible, it just needs bits. We have what tyre is this? This is the Auto Grip.
A royal black on the back here. We have another Auto Grip. Here we've got a Victra Sport 5. 3 brands, 2 different postcodes, matching.
Speaking of that area, I have Rays. Also, these are quite light, those wheels as well.
Inside, there's something straight off the bat.
My knob.
Your knob needs changing. Your bulge is lovely, but then your knob itself has to go.
Also, someone has painted the centre console dash plastics. The quality of the job is what I would have done when I was 21. So look, I understand, I've been there.
Yeah.
But don't.
The passenger seat is lovely. Can we get a check on the driver's seat?
The 106,000 miles is not that much.
No.
That's actually kind of worrying.
Previous owner was hungry. He thought, you know what, might just have a quick bite of my seat. But pretty stock for a 350. These cars tend to be, what's the best word to use? Ruined by their owners.
Riveted arches, a nasty wing. You've probably tinted some lights. You've probably painted your wheels green.
I get it, Need for Speed. That's why.
The boot space, I don't know, probably has a performance gain, but now I can't put all my shopping in here.
But sports car people, golf clubs are going
Golf clubs are going, possibly 2 lots of golf clubs.
Ben, you golf. You have golf clubs with you?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, that's not fitting. There you go. Look at that.
I'd say that's a pass.
Pass.
But a fail then.
Fail, yeah.
Because you now can golf.
I can golf.
But a pass because it's in.
Hold on. There's actually instructions for how to fit a golf bag. Sorry, sacks to golf. Always have to look under the boot carpet because you never know what you might find.
You have to check what's under there.
You've got a piece of plastic.
I can see them all.
Oi, jump leads.
You're joking. Let's see, this is what this is. We've just gained 3 jump leads.
Exactly. Engine.
The pièce de résistance.
And it's all standard. It looks a bit, it's very mucky under here.
Now, for how many years have I been going on about the fact that 350Zs have the worst engine bay ever known to man, and I will die on that hill.
Outside of a Subaru Boxer, I'm going to agree, it's hideous.
Apart from this one, the HR has 2 intakes that come off either side, whereas the normal 350 has one that goes with this horrible intake plenum. But this one, you got the big boy. They're pretty reliable. 350s. Like, there's not much that goes wrong with it. You say there's an oil gallery issue?
This engine in particular is one of the only ones that has an actual major issue. There's something called an oil gallery gasket. So it's a little gasket, part of the engine, and it's actually made of paper. The holes, as part of the gasket, they ovalize, and then the bits of paper, they sort of disintegrate and they end up in your oil. You can tell, because you start to lose oil pressure, but oil pressure's good so far.
There's not that many issues with this whole car in general. The biggest issue is Japan, and therefore, a synonym for Japan, rust.
Worried for what we might find, we got the 350 up in the air to take a look underneath.
Moment of truth, because this is your personal car with your personal money.
And these rust quite badly.
And we genuinely haven't looked under this yet.
Ooh! That's very new.
That's brand new.
I do know from my little paperwork search, it did say it's been wax oiled at some point. That's a good thing if it's preventative, but not if it's covering up rust. Yeah, so these are my cats.
Oh no, my cats have gone.
You know, an exhaust could be on the cards.
I'd call it light-hearted rust.
No leaks or anything from the gearbox, which is nice. It's also had a relatively recent clutch, which is nice.
Now, you told me as well that part of the reason they sound like trombones, this guy right here.
It's a V6, so you have manifolds on either side of the engine, but then it comes into one pipe in the middle. This is what you call a Y pipe. If you've seen Tokyo Drift, you will notice that the 350Z in that film sounds very, very different. It sounds almost straight six-ish, and that is because it is a true dual exhaust. So that is 2 pipes that go all the way down the back of the car.
Never meets.
There is no one. They never see each other, those guys. I prefer this sound. It's more unique. It's 350Z.
You know what it is? You know it's a 350Z.
It's 350Z. I'm not going, oh, is that an E36? No.
This exhaust is completely standard until this very original looking clamp here. And then he goes, my back box has fallen off.
Top Gear! I've got Top Gear exhaust.
Look at hell, Jeremy, mate, when did you make this?
This exhaust looks good quality, which is nice to see, but just cutting a back box out, it's normally not the best. No. If this had a smaller, less restrictive, less suffocating back box, it would probably be better. I think that might be on my list, is a better exhaust. But for the money, I was expecting worse.
Should we get the Boxster in?
Let's have a look at the Boxster. It can't be better than this. There's no way. Your pink Porsche.
It's not pink. It is Meridian Silver, I have you know. And you know what? I like it. It's got the turbo twist alloys, which are nice. Those are off. You tend to find them on the later ones. My private plate, which is worth thousands and thousands of nothing.
Bought by a dyslexic Porsche owner.
If you want to buy this plate and you're a Porsche owner, it's 10 grand to you right now.
Or you own a P90 submachine gun. You're Harry Carroll Edgar.
Then please get in touch. This is a bad thing, but it's also a good thing. The person that's doing this is not ragging this around. He is the sort of person that's polishing it every single weekend. He's got it under a car cover. An older gentleman, let's say. Black interior, quite literally unmarked. I mean, we've worked on 996s with this sort of interior before.
We've not seen it this clean because of the one that we've worked on. We're like, oh my God, it has all of its buttons.
You haven't seen this yet. Are you ready?
Here we go.
Not one, but 2 pairs of Ray-Bans. Would you like to buy these from me?
I'll take them. How much?
Genuine Ray-Bans, £50.
45.
50.
45.
55.
50.
50 done. Sold. This car cost me £3,450 now, and I'm up a set of Ray-Bans, and so are you. This, again, another sign that the previous owner, he's an older owner. Oh, that's lovely.
There you go, clean.
No one ever saw a difference.
5 grand.
That's lovely. Not as expected from the previous owner, but welcome. Spacers.
Sort of a 15 to 20 mil spacer. That's someone who went, I need this to sit right.
And then when we come to the back, my rear bull bar.
That's an interesting exhaust pipe.
It is an interesting exhaust pipe. When we get it up in the air, I will explain more. Oh no, mate. Let's take that one out. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I can't have this one. I can't have this one. I can't really have that one.
There we go.
That's in.
You're not going to have friends. You have a Boxster.
I'm ready for a day out with my Ray-Bans and my golf clubs. So I'm ready to go out and be hated by everyone. Ben's quite a fan of this Porsche, so now he's got one.
HMS Brown has been knighted.
With that, we got the Boxster inside to have a proper look underneath.
Everything under here just looks kind of clean. My bushes are good, they're well trimmed, they're maintained.
Also, like full under trains, which is nice.
Also, always Porsche. You can't see anything on them.
This is very, very clean.
Will, how have we done this?
How have we gone from the Cadillac and the limo to this?
So, one of the big things on these engines, Boxsters and 911s, when you try and take these exhaust manifold bolts out, they snap. None of them have snapped, can't see any like drill marks from where they've tried to re-tap them. Got a little bit of what looks like a little bit of an oil leak from here. Look, someone has taken this to a proper shop. They have paint penned the marks from where they've put bolts up. Normal people aren't doing that. This is good to see. On 911s, I don't know if they call it the same thing on a Boxster, but it's called a gundo mod. That pipe, he comes around and he goes into the muffler and then pops out the muffler out the back here. You bypass the muffler with a pipe that comes out of here straight into your tip. You get a nice bit of noise from this one which jumps past the rest of the system.
Both cars were looking surprisingly clean, but we're not experts. We wanted someone who actually knew what they were talking about to have a look at each one. So we started by bringing the Boxster to specialist Northway Porsche for a mini inspection.
We're here with Ray from Northway Porsche, the owner of Northway Porsche. My dad and I have brought many terrible Porsches to him over the years. Is this going to add to the list?
No, to be fair, it doesn't actually look like a bad car. Okay, so the exhaust is at a modified sort of cut and shut, but you could pay a lot more for a very similar thing. So yeah, I mean, that's good. It's definitely had rear lower arms, it's had brakes recently. It's got all the later type coil packs in it, which is quite cool. Other usual suspects are brake lines where they never get replaced in there, but they all look like they've either been done or they're in really good nick. Exhaust flanges have all been done, like these corrode away, but it's all been nut and bolted back up. But rear main seal, which is always leaking, is actually quite dry.
This car was bought from an auction, sight unseen.
By you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only two things he said in the paperwork was this, and it had an IMS done.
But what is an IMS? Well, some Porsche engines from this era have a rare but worrying issue where a badly designed ball bearing can deteriorate and cause catastrophic engine failure. Luckily for Edwin though, the Boxster had already had its bearing replaced with an upgraded part.
If you have a modified intermediate bearing, you normally have a clutch at the same time, so you're looking at 1,500 quid plus. Yeah, front end brakes are, again, almost look like brand new. Springs have been replaced, front coil springs, they all look good because that's another common fault on these, they snap. Shocks are rusty, but as in rusty bodies, not leaking, so again, they wouldn't even MOT advisory. Yeah, it looks like actually not a bad old thing.
How have I done this? How's this happened?
It's an accident. It's got to be an accident, surely.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you buy enough, you're bound to get it right eventually.
The moment we arrived and you brought it in here, you touched the door and went broken.
Oh yeah, door latch, yeah. So when you look at this door latch, that window should be down to allow it to shut, and it's not dropping. See? And the fault will be this door latch here on that side.
But that's just a little door latch. That's...
Yeah, like 100 quid or whatever. Yeah, and easy to fix. It's clean, isn't it? I mean, obviously, in terms of options, it's just got leather seats, 3-spoke steering wheel. But yeah, obviously, 6-speed manual box and an S, which is great.
Something like this, in this condition, current market, what do you reckon it's worth?
You can't buy anything even worth considering under 5 grand.
If I said that we got this at auction for 3.5 grand out the door, good going.
Yeah, it's a cheap car. Yeah.
Compared to, I don't know if you saw the 350s out there, what are your thoughts on that?
Leave over there.
So aside from needing a new door latch, my Boxster seemed to be a great purchase, and we were hoping to say the same thing for Will's 350Z, so we brought it down to Horsham Developments for its inspection.
So we are going to put both of these cars on a dyno in just a moment, but before we do that, we have come to Horsham Developments to have the 350 looked at, because this is what they do.
But first, do you want to reveal the price straight away?
£3,200.
That's incredibly cheap.
And it is a HR. What is the first thing you'd look for on a cheap 350?
Rust is the first thing, obviously. Gauging at the cost that you paid, we would expect it to be pretty rotten.
Will, you checked that before you bought it, right? You checked for rust?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah.
There's no like bubbling on arches, there are no holes underneath, there's nothing falling off, and that's a win.
It's really good for the cost.
I did have a minor coolant explosion this morning, just before I came in. It's my fault, I checked the fluids the other day and I didn't put that cap on properly, so that's my problem, not the car's problem. Other than that, anything else you spot straight off the bat?
Apart from the pink residue, I guess from the coolant leakage, first thing sort of springs to mind is the radiator support looks like it's from a DE. The reason for that is you've got 2 intakes, you've only got 1 airflow for the intake here.
So a DE is an earlier version of a 350.
A DE is like the original version, yeah.
Why would they change that?
This bonnet does look like a slightly different colour to the rest of the car. And also I did notice, I think the radiator looks slightly shinier than possibly it should be.
This may hinder performance because this is essentially just sucking in hot air.
So different crash bar, different radiator, different bonnet, potentially different bumper.
They're all at the front of the car.
Maybe you just wanted to replace them.
Yeah, I
just
think
like
so,
just
yeah.
a new one. Just thought, spruce it up a bit.
It's probably been in a bump.
Yeah, it's probably been in a bump, yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask about, that was the oil gallery gasket.
The oil gallery gaskets as standard tend to weep, and then that gives you very low oil pressure on idle, which isn't ideal. Yours is fine. I checked your oil pressure at, operating temps, and you've got high oil pressure, so...
What is the rough cost to get that fixed?
About just over £1,000.
Whoa, so that would take you closer to what an HR works out as.
So that's a win. Obviously, it may still fail, but right now it works. So not bad then for the money.
No, it's great. Yeah, I guess we'll see what score it makes.
It was time to find out how much power these budget sports cars were making, but this time we're upping the stakes, because for every horsepower lost from the factory figure, we're each going to lose £5 from our modification budgets.
313 is standard.
Yeah.
I'm down an airbox.
You did say that would make a difference.
Until I found out about that, I thought 304. I'm going to stick with 304, but
You're committed. Here we go.
we're revving. 60. Oh, well!
280! You are 33 horsepower down.
33 horsepower down, that's quite a lot. That's the number the original 350Z made.
As the first one was pretty low, the guys at Horsham did a second run and got a slightly higher number. So we convinced them to do one final run to see if they could squeeze any more out of it to save me some money.
Oh, Will, you might make another 5.
Oh, no, yes! 283.7!
That's still a lot of power to lose.
350 dynoed and Will £145 poorer, it was the turn of the Boxster.
It's 252 standard. My prediction is 240. Off the charts. Go on. Off the... Yes! 249. That's like 3 horsepower.
Oh, well, that's 15 quid.
Oh no, mate. 15 quid. Oh no. My £15.
I think that's a win for you.
100%.
That's not bad at all.
3 horsepower from standard. That is a good car. But I think both of them, we've both won.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Those are 2 very good cars for cheap money. Tune in next week when we're going to spend £1,500 modifying them to make them into £5,000 sports cars. Click down here to subscribe. See you next week.